Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're unpacking exactly why your brain invents the Messi versus rivalry. Seriously, let's dive right into this bizarre reality glitch. Think about it. We observe these magnificent, somewhat anxious, hairless apes spending years of their finite cognitive currency arguing over which of two strangers is more skilled at kicking a leather sphere. Right? We log onto our digital networks, we draw these intense battle lines, and we fiercely debate, Messi or Ronaldo, who is the ultimate icon? And will claim, with a completely straight face, that the outcome of this game is just entertainment, that it has no actual impact on our physical survival, and it's all just in good fun. But, well, the monkey notices a massive contradiction here. Because to our ancient biology, there is absolutely no such thing as just a game. We are literally watching intelligent primates run complex, high-definition global megastar software on 4 billion-year-old biological duct tape. And honestly, the results, they're not only hilarious, but they are deeply, deeply revealing about the very nature of human consciousness. Startlingly, 1% to 2% of sports fans actually anonymously report to researchers that they would be definitely willing to murder a rival coach or player if they were guaranteed to never be caught. I know, no way, right? That might sound like a tiny percentage until you actually stop and do the math. Just think about that for a second. In a high-capacity stadium of, say, 100,000 cheering humans, the entire system completely relies on the remaining 99% just pretending that those 1,000 to 2,000 potential lethal predators sharing the enclosure with them simply don't exist. That is an astonishing amount of lethal intent being generated by a group of people just watching an arbitrary set of rules play out on a patch of grass. And this is where the monkey notices this isn't entertainment at all. What we're really looking at is a remarkably thin veneer of civilization painted directly over our most ancient predatory instincts. When we humans engage in this debate, our brains literally do not distinguish between an arbitrary modern sport and an actual life-or-death struggle for tribal resources back on the prehistoric savanna. We are entirely captivated by this biological illusion. We're acting out a war without the immediate physical casualties, sure, but with all of the internal intensity of our ancestors fighting for their very survival. So, why do we actually do this? Why do humans create rivalries in the first place? To really understand this, we have to use what we call the why drill to strip everything down to the fundamental truths. The why drill is this simple but pretty ruthless cognitive tool where we just ask why 5 times in a row, stripping away all the cultural fluff and the clever rationalizations until we hit absolute biological bedrock. And when we drill down, we find out something huge. The human brain did not evolve to be objective at all. It evolved strictly to survive. We basically have to deconstruct all those comforting assumptions we have about sports, fandom, and even our own identities, and rebuild our understanding from the unyielding laws of evolutionary psychology. For instance, did you know the human brain categorizes a face as us or them within 50 milliseconds? 50. That is a staggering biological reflex. It triggers the amygdala, which is basically the brain's threat detection center, long before your conscious frontal cortex has even registered the person's eye color, let alone their name, their humanity, or their personality. In evolutionary terms, speed is constantly being prioritized over accuracy. Why? Well, because a false positive keeps you alive, but a false negative gets you killed. If speed is the absolute highest priority, then a cell phone in a rival fan's hand is logically indistinguishable to the ancient brain from a physical weapon raised in anger. Now, what's truly fascinating here is how this entirely subverts the popular cuddle hormone myth. We humans absolutely love to talk about oxytocin as this magical molecule of brotherly love and universal connection. But evolution is a ruthless tinkerer. Oxytocin evolved merely to ensure loyalty to a specific group, and it actually acts as a biological border wall. It makes you deeply cooperative, trusting, and loving toward the people wearing your team's jersey, sure, while simultaneously increasing xenophobia and preemptive aggression toward the tribe wearing the rival color. Your profound love for your in-group is biologically and chemically tethered to your hostility for the other. It gets even crazier. When an ape, meaning us, sees a rival's symbol, like a flag, a jersey, or a logo, a very specific part of the brain, called the insular cortex, fires up. But here's the thing. Evolution didn't have the time or the spare calories to build a brand new brain region just for ideological disagreement. So it just repurposed what it already had. It used the exact same prehistoric gag reflex designed to eject infectious, rancid meat from the stomach. When you look at a rival fan and physically feel disgust, your brain is literally processing their jersey as a toxic, life-threatening pathogen. It is a category error of the highest biological order. This leads perfectly to what we can call the vicarious victory glitch.
sitting perfectly motionless in a chair, a human's testosterone rises equivalently to the athlete who is physically laboring down on the pitch below. Just think about the sheer absurdity of the scenario for a second. You are sitting on a comfortable couch, eating a salty snack, barely moving a single muscle, yet your endocrine system is throwing an absolute hormonal party, entirely convinced that you have just personally fought and won a lethal battle for territorial dominance against a rival tribe. And this brilliantly illustrates a related psychological phenomenon known as gorfing, or glory out of reflected failure. Humans experience a measurable neurochemical euphoria when their rival team loses to a completely random third party. Imagine your favorite team isn't even playing today, but your fiercest rival is playing some random team from across the globe that you know absolutely nothing about. When that rival team misses a crucial penalty, you feel an absolute rush of joy. This happens even if the loss provides absolutely zero strategic benefit to your own team. It's basically a brilliant biological hack for primates to increase their relative status without expending a single calorie of the physical energy required to actually win a competition themselves. So if a stranger's inability to kick a leather sphere 2,000 miles away destroys your self-worth and completely ruins your entire week, we have to stop and ask a pretty serious question. Is your identity real? Or is it essentially just imagined software? We construct our reality out of arbitrary symbols because our hardware desperately craves the structure of opposition. We inherently need a them just to feel like an us. This desperate craving for opposition is directly driven by the dopamine desire circuit mapped deeply within the human brain. Our brains literally divide the world into two distinct zones: the peripersonal space, which is what we have right in front of us right now, and the extrapersonal space, what is distant, out of reach, and in the future. Dopamine doesn't actually care about what you already have. It's an anticipation molecule. It is obsessed with maximizing future resources. This circuitry forces humans to seek status and dominate the extrapersonal space. It's the very neurochemical engine driving us to claim that our chosen avatar is the definitive greatest of all time, permanently securing our tribe's status in the abstract future. All of this points to what we can call the individualist illusion. We absolutely love to believe that we are rational, discrete, self-contained units of consciousness who are carefully choosing our favorite players based on objective statistical analysis and pure logical deduction. But honestly, this illusion was installed roughly 70,000 years ago during the cognitive revolution. It was a vital software update that allowed groups of millions to cooperate using shared fictions. Fictions like national borders, fiat currency, or the very concept of the goat. So the crucial takeaway here is that humans are inherently dualistic creatures. We are deeply selfish hypocrites at the individual level. We operate as about 90% chimpanzee. But we possess a profound structural mechanism called the hive switch. Flip that switch, and we suddenly become 10% bee. We outsource our individual identities completely to the swarm. We put on the face paint, we chant in unison, and we completely dissolve our fragile egos into the collective organism the exact moment a symbolic rival appears on the horizon. When you step back and look at it from a distance of a century, what we are truly observing is just a species running high-speed digital globalism on ancient hardware. We have mapped the distant cosmos, yet we still experience profound emotional damage from the silence of a digital typing indicator or an online debate over a football match. We are just temporary nodes in a planetary nervous system, basically using sports rivalries to keep the simulation running smoothly. And as we zoom out to view all of this from a cosmic distance, the monkey noticed something odd. Thousands of years ago, humans painted their faces and gathered before battle. Today, they paint their faces and gather before stadiums. The flags changed. The jerseys changed. The chants changed. But the ancient brain still whispers the same sentence: choose a tribe, defend it, become it.